Hello, this is JOMAJ Studios, and this is our original fantasy action adventure, Slay, the Path of a Saint. Episode 8. Our midterm holiday came 2 weeks later. I and Togwe had already embraced the possibility Ajib was lost forever, while Ni hadn't. That week of no school was no holiday as far as Ni was concerned. The new house help his father hired turned out to be a 400-year-old witch who wanted to trade over the soul of every member of his family, including his, over to Satan, in exchange for the powers of a master demon. Ni caught her in the middle of the spell, which would snatch all their souls, thanks to the alert of a red star. It wasn't easy, but he beat her with no empowerment. Well, actually, he didn't really beat her, for the only reason why he survived that episode was because his soul couldn't be taken. And when she tried, the spell backfired. So she ended up getting a first-class ticket to the underworld. Before we knew it, midterm holidays was over, and we were once again returning to Ijaniki. That weekend Ni returned to school, he found himself slain. With me by his side, hundreds of man-eating bush babies deep in the school's cashew bush. I deduced the bush babies were a result of excess negative energy in the area, and the first day of classes soon followed. Ni, Tokwe and I missed breakfast in the dining hall, for the three of us became a bit paranoid since the Christiana incident. I went as far as staying behind during midterm, in case anything came up. We all sat in front of the JS1 block, where we were able to see all the students, both day and boarders, make their way to class from every possible direction. We sat there surveying, until it was time for the school assembly, after which all students were expected to go to their classes for their lessons. Ni missed the first lesson of the day, because he was still scouting the whole area. Finally, he gave up and returned to class. And there he was, Ajibs, sitting in his seat as though nothing happened. As Ni entered the class, Ajibs looked at him and smiled. Ni smiled back. As Ni was about to approach him, the entrance of the maths teacher interrupted. Ni was forced to sit at his desk that was a couple of rows away from Ajibs. That had to have been the longest hour of Ni's whole existence. When the lesson was over, Ajibs got up from his seat and sat right beside Ni. "Hi," Ajibs greeted casually. "Hey," Ni responded. An awkward silence followed. Ni then asked, "So where were you the last 2 weeks before midterm?" "Well, I was..." "You know what? Let's skip the charade. Your friend Ajibola, as we speak, is burning in a lake of fire we know as hell, while I, a god, use his body until it rots away." "What?" Ni quietly responded, shocked. "I think you heard me loud and clear, so quit the act. I have come here to make your life a living hell. Pardon the pun." "Who are you?" "Who am I?" "I, Mr. Slayer, am your first kill." He then got up and returned to his seat. Ni was so stunned by what he had just heard, time passed by him and he didn't even notice. Break time came 30 minutes later. The band group, which had now bathed and were now dressed in clean uniforms, but were still zombies, stood at the doorway of the class. Ajib then got up from his seat and walked out of the class. The zombies then followed him as if he were their leader. By this time, Ni had now got himself together and waited for 3 minutes before leaving the class to follow them. But as he left the class, a hand held him back. It was me. "Ajibs is possessed by Kuma," Ni hastily reported. I looked at him with a face filled with pity. Finally I spoke. "Ajibs is dead. Kuma is wearing his corpse so as to maintain all its power and look like a human. Kuma must have escaped when those boys opened the portal. Christiana was sent to find the body, and she chose Ajibs. I thought killing Christiana would free the souls of Chinedu, Chidi, Shegun, and Chike. But I was wrong, for their souls are lost forever. So why are we just standing here chatting? Let's end this now before anyone else is killed." "He's not here to kill loads of people. He's here to get revenge on the Slayer who took him out. Trust me when I say he won't be hiding from us. However, sooner or later he's going to need human flesh to sustain his human form. And in order to get the flesh he needs, he will become a demon. And that, my friend, is when we end this." While we were discussing the return of Kuma, Topwe had just finished eating a bowl of home-cooked food in the music room, where his guardian worked. After washing the bowl on his hands, Topwe thanked his guardian and left the room. As he walked through the door and closed it behind him, he came face to face with Ajibs. "Hey, you're alright. It's good to see you," said Tokwe, who was now relieved to see his friend in one piece. Ajibola didn't say anything. All he did was smile as his zombie henchmen emerged from around the corner. Tokwe immediately knew something was off when he saw the 4 zombies, and this was immediately conveyed through the expression on his face. "Tell me something. Why do you deny what you are by helping the Slayer kill your own kind?" asked Ajibla as he and his henchmen began to surround Tokwe. "I don't know who you are or what you and your homeboys want, but you better back off," warned Tokwe as he summoned extra strength. "Or what? Believe me, if I wanted to kill you where you stand, that wouldn't be a problem. However, I didn't come for that. I came to cure your disease. The disease you have that pushes you to kill your own kind," Ajib said calmly and confidently. Then, without warning, he scratched Tokwe's right arm. Tokwe's first reaction was to look at his arm. When he did, he saw his scratch heal up almost instantaneously, leaving a scar behind. Tokwe then turned to look at Ajib's, but he, as well as all his henchmen, were gone. About 4 o'clock that afternoon, Beefy was making his way to class to get his school bag, before going to dorm. He had just spent 45 minutes trying to hand in a late English assignment. Eventually, his teacher accepted it in. Beefy entered his class and saw his bag exactly where he had left it, on his desk. But he also saw Ajibs and his zombies sitting comfortably on desks situated around his bag. "Hey Ajibs, how have you been?" Beefy greeted as he picked up his bag and sat down at his desk. "I've been fine, and you?" Ajibs responded with a fake smile on his face. "I don't mean to be rude or anything, but why are you hanging out with these losers?" whispered Beefy to Ajibs. "No particular reason," answered Ajibs, then striking Beefy across the face, a strike that flung him across 4 rows of desks. Ajibs and his zombies then got up from their seats. "Don't kill him. Just make a movement for him very difficult," ordered Ajibs, then leaving the class to allow his zombies to carry out their task. That evening, Nee was roaming around the dormitory area when a junior boy told him that I wished to see him in sickbay. As soon as he got the message, he ran to sickbay as fast as his legs could carry him, which was pretty fast. Nee knew something bad had happened. He arrived just in time to see Beefy taken away in an ambulance. A couple of JS3 boys found him in class, right before afternoon prep, I informed, approaching Nee from behind. After watching the ambulance drive off, Nee turned to face me. "So tell me something. Do you still think we should wait?" Nee asked, indirectly demanding a solution. "Listen, Kuma wants to make you lose focus by making you angry. Well, if wanting to solve a serious problem quickly before it gets even worse is losing focus, then he, or should I say it, has succeeded," Nee interrupted, then walking off. I didn't go after him. The truth is I agreed with him. All I wanted to come up with a rational solution before acting. My thoughts were soon interrupted by the voice of the sick bay's head nurse, directing me to get Beefy's things in the boys' ward. I did what I was told. On my way out, I heard a familiar voice groan on the top of one of the bunks. I checked the bunk and found it was Tokwe covered in sweat. "Hey big man, what's happening here? Worries don't fall sick," I said, checking his temperature. "Ajibs did something to me. The rage is taking over. I can't control the demon within for much longer," shared Tokwe, who was just about able to speak. "Hang in there. I'll break his hold on you, I promise." I know you'll try, but I need you to promise me 2 things. 1, you won't tell Nia about my condition. And 2, if I do get out of control, even a little bit, you'll kill me." "I promise." Nee had already left the dormitory area and reached the classroom area. There he saw Ajibs and Rebecca walking past the JS1 classroom block towards the administration area. Without thinking, he ran up to both of them and literally dragged Rebecca away from Ajibs. "What do you think you're doing?" said Rebecca, pushing Nee off her. "Listen to me. You have to keep far away from him. He's dangerous. Trust me on this," Nee warned desperately. "Who? Ajibs? Look, you had your chance. Pull yourself together," she said, then pushing him out of her way. "Ajibs, I'll talk to you later," she said, hugging him. Ajibs smiled at Nee from over her shoulder. Right after giving Nee a dirty look, Rebecca then walked off to her dormitory. "Hey Nee, my man, how's it hanging?" gloated Ajibs after Rebecca was well out of sight. "If you harm her, You'll what? Let's not start throwing threats at each other now. You know my diet plan. Human flesh to sustain my human form. Do you think I'll go for any old flesh? Why should I, when I can have Becky's nice, firm, supple body at my disposal?" "You bastard!" Nee screamed as he ran at Ajibs. The slayer was stabbed by a well-directed punch to the stomach. Ajib then threw him against a wall and held him against it with one arm by his throat. "You can try, but at the end of the day, you can't win," he then said in a deep demonic voice as his eyes lit up into a fiery state. After speaking, he let go of Nee and walked away. Nee had no plan, no idea of how he was going to stop this thing. All he knew is that he couldn't let Kuma harm Rebecca. That evening, Rebecca was one of the prefects chaperoning the dining hall. So Nee waited until everyone was making their way out before he dragged her aside. "You again? Look, you better stop acting like this," said Rebecca, pushing his hand off her. "Please listen to me. As a friend, all I'm trying to do is protect you." "From who? Ajibs? You guys grew up together. Why would you have to protect me from him?" "It's hard to explain. All I can say is that he has changed, and now he is very dangerous." "To you maybe, but not to me," Rebecca said, ending the conversation and walking off. That is the end of episode 8. The scripture for this episode is Proverbs 12 verse 15. "The way of the fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man is he who listens to counsel." How would you relate this scripture to this episode, and how would you relate this scripture to your life? Leave your answers on any of JOMAJ Studios' social media platforms, which can be found at jomajstudios.com. The Fall of Nell is now available on paperback and Kindle at Amazon. For more details, go to jomajstudios.com and click on Bookstore. Also at jomajstudios.com, you can check out our YouTube page, Facebook page, Twitter page, and our Instagram page, and other website features. See how you can get involved with us at jomajstudios.com.